My name is Pastor Jon Annin. This is Stonybrook Church. I have been here for going on 2 years in September. This church has a long history. I actually grew up in this church building under a different name, but Stonybrook has been at this church for about 10 years now. So when I arrived, we had a playground out front, but it was very old, very almost dangerous, kind of falling apart, in disrepair. Kids would still play on it. Every time it rained, it turned into a mud puddle, and it was just an absolute mess. And so we as a church wanted to create a space for our kids and our families to play. We looked at a lot of different options, obviously, things like mulch and other things you can kind of do it yourself for a very low cost sometimes. But the problem with those surfaces is that they don't allow everyone to play equally. My wife has a deep, long background in special needs ministry, and so we know that there are certain things that hinder special needs kids and families from being a part of a church community, and things like mulch in a playground. And so we were looking to find a surface that would allow everyone to play. We didn't know that at the time, but we are now very pleased we chose turf because of everyone being able to play and not come home with sand and mulch up and down all of their clothes. But it was really an inclusive mentality. So approximately a year ago, when we decided to have the vision for this playground, we reached out to a few different places. We looked at a few different surfaces, but eventually we ended with Practice Sports, and honestly, it's been a great experience from the beginning to the end. Responded to emails very quickly. Once we had the funds to do the playground and the surface, responded very quickly, built it in a very timely manner. We reached out about a year ago, and about 5 or 6 months later, we had building underway. Most of that was on our part, raising the funds for us to do it. But along the way, we got great advice. Like I said, we started off talking about which surface did you want? Did you want rubber or turf? The length of the turf, the type of playground with metal being very, very expensive for us, and the vinyl being a great option that wouldn't wear down. So all along the way, got good advice from the Practice Sports teams, the playing team, never telling us to do anything, just giving thoughts and advice to us along the way. And so a very helpful team from start to finish. Anybody can play of all ages comfortably, and again, the turf and the playground structure has been just a perfect addition to our church. So when we began working on this, we shopped through all the different play structures, but one thing that we really wanted to have was a tornado slide. My son and a lot of kids, they have to have their slide. So we had this structure kind of picked out. It fit our price point, it fit our footprint, our size, but it didn't have a tornado slide. So we actually did add the tornado slide to the back end of the clubhouse. And so honestly, the slide and the walkway, the rope bridge along the way is probably the favorite place for the kids. They run back and forth along there, chasing each other across that. And then I know it's simple, but obviously we made sure we had enough swings. We customized the swings a bit too. We added the swing for special needs right there, so anybody could swing. As well, we have the baby swing there. I think that was originally more of a large swing for multiple people, so we customized that section. And then of course we have this section here with the swings, but of course after the tornado slide and the rope bridge, the swings are obviously the thing kids love to fly back and forth. And finally, I know it's the least obvious of the things, but people really enjoy the large empty space. So there's a lot of empty turf space here. We've kind of begun to fill it up a little bit, but kids can run around freely. They're not kind of compacted into this small area. And so the run around factor on the turf has also been very, very popular as well. I would absolutely recommend Practice Sports to anyone, residential or commercial. Again, very helpful, great price point amongst the competitors. And honestly, yeah, the biggest thing is just face-to-face communication all the way through. If I could describe Practice Sports in one word, it would be helpful, because I didn't know exactly what I was doing when I began, and I was helped along the process.